Ever started searching for a flight, felt completely overwhelmed, and picked something you weren't even sure was a good deal just to be done with it? Well, this video is for you. Google Flights is hands down the most powerful free tool for finding cheap airfare. And shockingly, most people are only using about 20% of its full capabilities. So today, I'm going to walk you through how to use Google Flights like the pros use it, from the basics all the way to features most travelers don't even know exist. Let's get into it. Chapter 1, start your search the right way. First things first, let's talk about how to actually set up your search so that you're seeing the most options possible right from the start. Head to googleflights.com. You'll land on this homepage. The first thing you want to do before you even think about dates is think about airports. Now you can type in a single airport like JFK or LaGuardia, but if you live in or near a city with multiple airports like New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, or DC, add them all. You can enter up to 7 departure airports separated by commas. So instead of just searching for flights out of JFK, it'll search for flights out of LaGuardia and Newark too. Same thing on the destination side. Well, why does this matter? Well, because the cheapest flight out of JFK might be $400, but the same trip out of Newark might be $220. You won't know unless you look. Some cities have metro codes that'll do this automatically. Type NYC and it'll pull in all 3 New York area airports. WAS covers both Dulles, Reagan, and Baltimore. Super useful shortcut. Chapter 2, finding the cheapest dates. Now here's where it's easy to leave money on the table. For our purposes, we're going to search for flights from Seattle to Stockholm. When you click into the date field, the calendar view opens up. And what you're looking at here is up to 12 months of prices for your route all at once. The cheapest dates are highlighted in green. A flight that costs $652 on a Saturday might be $436 on a Wednesday for the same route, same airline, same week. The calendar makes that visible instantly. Also, the prices you see are tied to whatever trip length you set. Change that from 7 days to 5 days, and the whole calendar updates. Sometimes a shorter or slightly longer trip unlocks significantly cheaper fares. There are 3 ways to explore dates on Google Flights. Calendar view, which you see here, where you can see the cheapest days at a glance. If you click search, you'll also have access to the date grid, where you can compare departure and return combos side by side. The date grid is a great way to find the sweet spot in a sea of potential departure and return days. Anything cheaper than your selected dates shows up in green. Shifting your return by 1 day can sometimes save you hundreds of bucks, and the date grid makes it easy to see where those savings are available. There's also a price graph or a bar chart of how fares trend over the next 3 months, which is useful for spotting at a glance the single cheapest time to depart and return, as well as how fares fluctuate around those dates. On the flight search page, Google also includes helpful information in a box, like how fares have trended over the past couple of months. This helps you easily spot whether prices are unusually high right now or if this is actually a good time to book, with color coding and low, typical, or high labels. These labels should be taken as a loose guide, not gospel, but they are a good gut check if you're trying to decide whether to book now or wait. Chapter 3, filters that fit your preferences. Once you've got your route and dates in, the filters across the top are where you can really get specific with your travel preferences. I'll walk you through the ones that matter most. Stops. If you're flying a short route and want to avoid a connection, you can filter for non-stop only. For longer routes, 1 stop can save you a significant amount. Just be smart about layover time, especially if you have to go through immigration or recheck luggage. If non-stop isn't available for that route, you won't have the option to select it. Airlines. If you're building up miles with a specific carrier or alliance, filter by that so every flight you book is working toward your rewards. Bags. Budget airlines love to show you a super low base fare and then charge $40 to $60 each way for a carry-on. Use the bags filter to only show flights that include a carry-on. The price adjusts to show you the true cost because a flight that looks $50 cheaper might actually cost you more once you add the bag. You can also set a price threshold or time restrictions. Here, you'll filter your departure and arrival windows so you're not accidentally booking a 5 a.m. flight that you'll regret. You can set this for both outbound and return. Cheapest versus best. This is a slightly newer feature. Cheapest sorts purely by price. Best balances price with total travel time, number of stops, and airline reliability. For a quick domestic trip, cheapest might work fine for you. But for a long international flight, best might save you from a 14-hour layover and only cost $10 more. There's also other filters like emissions. Google shows estimated CO2 per flight based on aircraft type and routing. This allows you to filter for lower carbon flights if that's important to you. Connecting airports, where you can exclude specific hubs if you know from experience that they're prone to delays or long immigration queues, or if you only want to navigate through a specific airport. Duration, where you can set a max total travel time to avoid long layovers. One last thing on filters, you can also avoid basic economy entirely with one click. Like if you don't want to be in the last group to board, or you know that you want to bring a carry-on on flights that restrict you to just a personal item. This filter primarily works for domestic trips with major US carriers like American, United, Delta, and a few others. The math usually works out that upgrading to regular economy at booking is cheaper than paying the bag fee at the gate. Chapter 4, Google Flights Explore for the flexible traveler. Google Flights Explore is one of the best features on Google Flights, and it's so underused. It's for when you know you want to travel, but you're flexible on where, and that's the right mindset to find the best deals. Here's how it works. You can use the Explore tab at the top of the page or navigate from the main Google Flights page. Enter your departure airport, leave the destination field blank, hit Explore, and Google pulls up a map showing the cheapest available fares from your airport to destinations all over the world over the next 6 months. You can zoom in on a region like the Caribbean or zoom out to see flights to Europe, Asia, or anywhere. Click any price bubble and it shows you the details for the route. You can also get more specific, like by typing in a country, a region, or a continent. For instance, type Caribbean and it'll show you the cheapest fares to the Caribbean from your home airport. If you click the date field on the Explore map, you can filter by trip length, like a weekend, week, or 2-week long trip, or by month if you know roughly when you can travel. That gives you the cheapest fares for that specific window. One thing to know, Explore only shows results 6 months out versus the full 12 months that you can see on a standard search. You can also add up to 5 departure airports here. So if you're in the LA area, you might compare LAX, Orange County, Long Beach, Ontario, and Burbank all at once to find the cheapest way out for your trip. Chapter 5, price alerts before and after you book. Most people don't use price alerts to their full potential. And don't skip this one. The second half of the tip is something that almost nobody does. Once you've searched a route and dates, scroll down and you'll see a track prices toggle. Turn that on and you'll get email alerts anytime the fare on that route changes. Just a heads up, you do need to be signed into your Google account to enable flight tracking. Not only can you track prices on a general route like LA to New York City, but you can also track prices on a specific flight, like this Zip Air one from LA to Tokyo. Just click into the flight, toggle on price alerts, and you'll get updates when the prices fluctuate on this specific flight. Price alerts are useful before you book, but the move that most people miss, you can track the price of a flight after you book too. If you booked a main cabin fare, AKA not basic economy, and the price drops, you can often rebook at a lower price and get a refund on the difference. It's actually pretty common for flight prices to decrease depending on when you book. Set an alert, let Google Flights track the price for you, and if the fare falls, grab the better price. Other things to know about Google Flights alerts. They notify you of any price changes up or down on the route you selected. Also, they won't tell you about deals on nearby destinations or routes you haven't thought to search. The Going app can come in handy for this, surfacing great deals to destinations that you haven't considered and inspiring your next trip. Chapter 6, Multi-City Search. Save big, even on complex trips. If you're planning a trip with multiple stops, or if you want to depart for your trip out of one airport and return to another one, don't book each leg separately, at least not before you check multi-city search first. Click the drop-down where it says round trip and switch it to multi-city. You can add up to 5 legs on a single itinerary. This matters for international trips in particular. Flying into one European city and out of another, what's called an open jaw ticket, is often significantly cheaper than the total cost of a round trip to a single destination, plus another round trip to and from your secondary destination. For example, if you wanted to visit both London and Barcelona but booked a round trip ticket, you'd need a round trip between your home airport in London as well as between London and Barcelona. But if you booked a multi-city ticket, you could fly into London, out of Barcelona, and only need to book a one-way ticket between the two once you're on the continent, which is typically the much cheaper alternative. Chapter 7, Common Mistakes and How to Avoid Them. There are a few things that trip up even the most experienced Google Flights users. 1, ghost fares. Sometimes Google shows a price that's no longer available. For example, the fare sold out or changed, but the cached price is still showing. If you click through and the price jumps, go check the airline's website directly. Try nearby dates, and if it's truly gone, set an alert and wait for a better price. Now, if you're booking last minute, it might be wise to go ahead and book the new price. That's a great seg into the Goldilocks window. This is the time when most deals are likely to appear. For domestic trips, it's about 1 to 3 months out from departure. For international, it's 2 to 8 months. But if you're traveling during a peak season like summer or the winter holidays, add a couple of months to either of those windows. And it's important not to fall into the bargain bin trap, waiting around thinking that airlines will slash prices at the last minute to fill empty seats. In reality, airfare is far more likely to increase as the departure date approaches. Green doesn't always mean cheapest. The green dates on the calendar are the cheapest within the parameters you set, like your specific airports or your specific trip length. They're not necessarily the cheapest possible fares that exist. Expand your search, try different trip lengths, add more airports, search during a different season. This is when the off-peak paradox comes into play. Basically, it means that traveling outside peak season can deliver better experiences because destinations are far less crowded and can feel more authentic. The bonus is that you also usually score some of the best deals of the year if you travel at this time. Ignoring total travel time. A flight that's $100 cheaper but has 2 connections and an 18-hour journey might actually cost more when you factor in airport meals, exhaustion, and a potentially ruined first day. Use the duration filter to cap your total travel time. Assuming the cookie myth is true. One of our favorite myths at Going to Bust, Google Flights does not track how many times you've searched a route and raised prices on you. You do not need to use incognito mode. And that's Google Flights. We've covered the calendar view, the Explore map, multi-city search, price alerts before and after booking, filters that impact your flight price, and myths and mistakes to avoid. The travelers who consistently find the best airfare aren't lucky. They're just using the right tools in the right order, usually with a little flexibility on their side. If this was helpful, drop a like and subscribe. We put out tips like this regularly. And if you want to go even deeper on finding cheap flights, check the link in the description.